This is a SAM for Engineering podcast. We deliver strategies and tips on how to meter, optimize, and make the most of your IT resources for smarter decisions on managing engineering software licenses. Each episode features experts who can provide valuable insights on the latest IT trends and how you can tailor your resources to align with these trends. So hit subscribe and join us here.
Hello, everyone. We're here once again for another episode of a SAM for Engineering podcast. This is your host, Brandy Boyd. I'm a project manager here at OpenIT. Our podcast can be heard across multiple platforms, including Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. We also have a video version of our episode that you may be enjoying now in our YouTube channel, OpenIT. If you're on a computer, you can go to youtube.com/OPENITINC. And you'll find us there. We're always grateful to you, our valued listeners, for always supporting us and our efforts to bring informative and interesting discussions with experts in our field. We hope that the last year went well for you and the last month was a good closeout for 2022. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, we are SAM for Engineering Podcast, the official podcast of OpenIT. Our company provides a complete solution for tracking, analyzing, and optimizing your engineering licenses, high-end applications, and IT assets. We also offer advanced metering and reporting solutions to help companies and institutions make better decisions about managing their software licenses. We have offices across the globe, including the Americas, Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Africa, India, and Japan. So on to today's topic. As 2022 has come to a close and we're into a new year, I wanted to talk about what we can expect for 2023. Last year was a mix of geopolitical turmoil, historic inflation, supply chain disruptions, and many other challenges. We can't help but ask what's in store for the coming year in terms of technology, IT, software, and more. So we've invited an expert in our sphere to talk to us about technology trends to expect in 2023. Let's welcome OpenIT's own Solutions Engineer Lemuel Enrico. Welcome, Lemuel.
Hello, and thank you for having me here today, Brandy. And for all those listeners out there, welcome. And I hope you guys had a great day so far.
Wonderful. So thank you for gracing this episode, Lemuel. It's truly an honor to have you here to enlighten our listeners on these tech trends that we can expect this year, 2023. So first things first, how was last year for organizations and companies?
Well, you had already mentioned it earlier. So you mentioned about the serious things that happened for the last few years so far. So you mentioned about inflation and the energy crisis in Europe, disruptions in supply chains. And of course, we shouldn't forget about the sudden changes that was brought to us by the COVID-19 pandemic that happened almost 3 years ago. And if you will ask me what's going on right now, this is currently a really challenging landscape that business leaders and a lot of entrepreneurs are currently trying to navigate. But gladly we have these new technologies that are emerging that help these leaders navigate their positions and, of course, their businesses moving forward. Now, I think the most important part here is, most important and crucial step is to ensure that the businesses is set up to success, and they are kind of like adjusting and familiarizing themselves in these newer technologies, especially the trends for this current year, 2023.
Right. Okay, so can you tell us more about these trends that we should watch out for this year?
Sure, I'll do that. And I think I can name a few of them, but I'll start with digital security, right? So we know that one of the major concerns right now by a lot of organizations is cybersecurity.
Mhm.
And of course, the first thing that you should ask yourself is our system safe or is it secured, right? From data breaches and all these attacks that may happen, let's say in upcoming year or maybe on a monthly basis or even sometimes daily basis, right? So
Right.
thankfully, technology has rapidly grown a lot and got to a point where we can invent methods for protecting against these online criminal acts. that also improve in a way about its complexities, while some of the organizations maintain their own cybersecurity departments, in-house, IT departments and teams. Some other had chosen to outsource or hire um, other experts outside or third-party organizations that will help them that specialized in this kind of domain in this aspect as well.
Mm, okay. Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah, can you carry on a bit
Well,
more? I want to know a little bit more. Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
I would say on a career perspective, or if you are kind of like still, interested in the technology part of it, in 2023 and the years that are upcoming, we can actually expect more automation and development, specifically and especially in designing robust. That this term is what they call the digital immune system, right?
Mm,
So
okay.
sometimes they call it that way. Plus, it's forecasted that the need for cybersecurity experts will kind of like plummet in a way. So for those out there, college students that will be graduating 2, 3 years from now, the growth of cybersecurity experts or the need for that, the demand for that will uh, be much faster than other tech jobs out there in the market,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. It's a rapidly changing landscape. I when I graduated, these were not um, the concerns of today were not near as prevalent. There's always
Exactly.
been concerns about cybersecurity, but now we have new things like AI. Uh,
Yes, of course.
can
I
you
know
tell
you're
us a little?
excited about that conversation.
Oh
So,
goodness. Yeah, go ahead.
so I will continue this direction since you're pointing me in that way.
Okay.
And the second part of, the second point of this trend is the existence, or we will encounter a lot more AI as well.
Hmm.
So many industries we've seen a lot. Of course, you've seen a lot of sci-fi movies out there. It's very common nowadays. And actually, guess what? Many industries right now is still on the infancy stages when it comes to integrating AI in their systems and in their process as well. And let me just tell you the story. I was helping myself sleep. That was like 4 nights ago. And
Okay.
when I brought up my phone, I just browse, watch for interesting videos out there in YouTube. And have you heard about this robot hotels in Japan?
No.
No.
Oh, yes, I
So
have. I
robot
have.
hotels, yeah. So
Yes.
this robot hotels, this is kind of like lodge that is 100% smart,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So what I mean by that is there's absolutely zero need for human interaction for their services,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So when you are dropped by your taxi, let's say, and you walk to the automatic door,
Yeah.
instead of a person welcoming you or a butler, as what they call it,
Uh-huh.
they will welcome you with a robot that will carry your luggage to the um, reception, right? And
Right.
even the reception themselves, these are humanoids that will talk to you about your check-in details and all that. Absolutely all smart and all machines, no humans at all, right? So
Wow.
I use the term humanoid since it's actually kind of creepy as well, but it's at the same time it's impressive as well. So
It is.
down from top to bottom, you have this food prepared for you, and you have
Mhm.
this cleaning and housekeeping as well, even in getting your laundry ready, even in
Right.
toilets as well. It's all automated, so it's actually impressive. Now, going back to our
That's
topic
very
here,
cool. Okay, yes.
that's the first thing you'll think about if you think about AI, right? But
Mhm.
with higher demands that we can expect with this kind of technology on the table, a lot more organizations are kind of enticed to use AI. So they
Yeah.
invest more in this what they call AI tourism. So AI tourism
Okay.
means AI uh, trust, risk, and management.
Okay.
TRISM, right? TRISM. So it
Mhm.
will not be just about automation. It will help businesses as well in helping them actively manage their businesses of AI security, improving the controls for their ethics and privacy concerns, and also
Okay.
methods of explaining different results that AI can provide as well.
Okay. Yes, I had heard of AI trust, but I'm glad you explained AR trism, if you will. So that's great.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
this robot is really,
mhm,
smart enough to learn a lot about like what humans, how humans learn as well. So
yeah,
of course we
I,
encounter AI on a daily basis. So we just
hmm
doesn't know that it's AI. When you wake
hmm
up in the morning, you call Siri to play you a song or music as well, right? So that's how
hmm
it is applied on our lives currently.
and I'm also seeing a lot of people using AI to create images, right? And then
Oh
seeing what it
yeah,
comes up with. That's
correct.
very
Yeah.
interesting. Sometimes it looks really accurate to what the text is, and sometimes it's missing a few things. So, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting what it comes up with.
Hmm.
When you what
It's
it I
getting too
say it as
advanced.
if it's one entity. I hope not. But okay, very nice. So, all right, let's continue. Where were we? Are we talking about we're talking about AI? Are there any issues with automation and new models? Let's continue.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yes.
Since we're talking about AI, the next trend that I will be giving for you today is these new applications on the data that we're collecting.
Okay.
So that's the third one, and uh, that's because we're having a lot of data right now, right? 15 years ago, it's different, and
Mm-hmm.
it was on the year 2010 when we first saw an immense growth of different methods and tools on how we are collecting data. So there's practically more data collected right now that organizations can use, but they don't know how to use it, right? And
Right.
through the years, this trend has continually and be likely to create new users, and these new users, will, of course, generate data. So it's like kind of like a snowball effect in some ways, and most
Mhm.
likely, these AIs, the second one that I mentioned, will make recommendations on what to do in this data or this huge volume of data that's being generated by these people. And
Mhm.
organizations will be able to utilize these technologies with more efficiency and accuracy, and also with more value as well in place, in getting this right data and using the right way as well. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, sure. Some things come to mind when I read about this collecting
Okay.
data.
Sure.
So perhaps you have some experiences where you are kind of like when you try to go to some place, let's say with your partner, with your husband, you search for this hotels in your vacation, right?
Sure.
So you know, uh, let's say hotels in Manila International Airport. So you're browsing the search engine, and then let's say you decided where you will stay in that vacation place, and
Sure.
you went to your social media, let's say Facebook or Instagram, and then you will see these ads, Agoda, Booking.com, suggesting about these cheaper deals. So those are
Mm.
kind of like the subtle applications on how this data is being used and collected at some point. It's kind of scary, but it's really you know very good for
Yeah.
businesses as well, I would say.
It's off-putting at first, but it's nice to have
Yeah.
information tailored for you. It's a little bit of both, right? So it's better than getting
Hmm.
some random ad for something you don't care about when you certainly need a hotel,
Sure.
right? So, yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So, okay, are there any other trends you want to discuss? Can you
um, I still
tell us
have
about
it.
another one?
This is something that uh, metaverse. Have you heard of metaverse?
I
I think this
have
is
heard
a
of
term that is being
metaverse.
passed around this
Yes.
days as well. And
Yes.
another trend for 2023 will be the expectation that metaverse will upgrade. Of course, it's still in this
Okay.
infancy stage right now,
Right.
and we've heard a lot about this one from this household term that the man himself, Mark Zuckerberg, has coined. So he
hmm
rebranded it in a way that from Facebook it's now Meta, right?
Right.
META. So
hmm
according to a tech target, the metaverse is a vision of what many of these technology enthusiasts in the computer industry believe is the next iteration of the internet, right? So it's
Okay.
shared, a single, persistent, and it's kind of like a virtual space at some point where humans
Yeah.
can experience real life, or not real life, but they can experience things that they don't think they will experience in the real life or physical world,
The
right?
natural world. Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Hmm.
I can put it in a way that let's say you are in Houston, right? Are you in Houston right now?
I
And
am
I'm
in
on
Houston.
the other side of
Yeah.
the globe, I'm in the Philippines.
Yep.
So physically, we're not on the same place, right? Since we're like 20 plus hours away from each other.
Yep.
Now, what this metaverse can do for us is it's kind of like representing reality, but it's not reality. So in
Hmm.
metaverse, you and I, Brandy and Limuel, can have a dinner at 9 p.m. at this place.
Hmm. Hmm.
We can meet there, but it's kind of like an alternative reality if you define it. So we
Right.
have a physical reality where we are far from each other, and we have this version of reality that is happening, right? So let's say I
Yeah.
don't have a dog. That's a reality, right? I don't have a dog in the physical world, but in
Hmm.
metaverse I can have a lot of pets and I can have a
Right.
lot of properties as well. So
Hmm.
that's the easier way to put it and to understand things.
Yes.
So it will be predicted that innovators will come to develop more advanced near real life technology that will adapt our body functions and also gestures as well with this metaverse.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where that goes.
Mhm.
My experience with it is just that it, not that specifically, but I remember years ago, I'm a bit older than you, uh, that people would have
And you
different
look young.
profiles online,
Sure.
but I never really got into that. So I'm curious how this will go because this is a little different because Facebook has a lot of information about you, so it's going to be a bit more tailored. It's not like you're just building a place for yourself. Like I
Yes.
feel like you'll
Mhm.
have more information to draw from, and it might be easier for people to slide into using metaverse. So I'm interested to see how that
Yeah.
works.
Let's see what
And
happens in the
yeah.
next 5, 10 years from now.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll it's different on how we think of it right now, but it will be a
Yeah.
huge jump for sure.
And we'll see if it's mainly
Okay.
for entertainment or more for businesses as well. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. It will be for business. It's
Okay.
how these companies earn as well and have
Yeah.
it they how they run it.
Okay.
And
So let's move. Yeah. Sorry.
sure. It's
Do you have
kind of
another
like
term?
still on the
Hmm.
umbrella term though in IoT. Have you heard that? IoT, Internet of Things?
Internet of Things. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have heard of it. Hmm.
So 5 years ago, this is my undergraduate research.
Hmm.
Yeah, I still remember some statistics about it. And if you define what IoT is, I can give you some questions like, do you like how your audio players play you some music when you get home? Like you are tired
Yeah.
and you want soothing music right before you go to
Yeah.
bed?
Hmm.
Yes, right. So another one is when you wake up in the morning and your coffee maker, if it's automated, will make you coffee right after you wake up.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
your answer is yes to these questions, then you are certainly enjoying Internet of Things, right? So in this business, a lot of businesses will benefit, of course, for this year in Internet of Things. And as far as I can remember, 5 years ago, 2018, when I was like writing this paper for
Hmm.
IoT, since that's our requirement when I was in college, that was very
Yeah.
dreadful. I can remember still the pain of being a student. No, when I was 2018 to be exact, based on statistics, for every person in this world, there are two devices that is connected, right? So that's was like 5 years ago. So let's say
Yeah.
you have a mobile phone or you have a laptop, so that's total of two devices. That's by average, of course. Some
Hmm.
of them are more, some of them are less, but according to statistics, on the year 2030, there will be 19 devices connected per head per person, right?
Wow. And that's
So
not
even
even
now,
saying
it's
that everyone has one. That means that some people have more. Some people have
yes,
less.
that's
So
exactly what it is. So
that's a
even now,
lot.
you have
Yeah.
have you had a experience having a smartwatch some point
I'm
in your
wearing it
life?
right now. I'm wearing my
Oh yeah,
smartwatch.
that's exactly. So of course you have smartwatch, and some of you guys have dual phones. Some of you have three phones, some for work, some for personal, things like that. So
Correct.
right now we're more than two devices if you'll compare it 5 years ago, right? So
Yes.
imagine like 19 devices, right? So everything, your refrigerator, my sister has this smart refrigerator, and they often joke to her about having to spend a lot of money about these smart refrigerators.
I have
So it's
one
really
as well.
impressive.
Don't judge us.
So funny. So,
It helps me with my schedule. It has a calendar on it. It's got,
and
the grocery stuff. It's all in one hub.
it also tells you about if your avocado is spoiling, right? It's getting bad for 5 days from now.
Yeah,
It's really get to the
that's
point
a
that it's
bit
so smart,
much. Yeah.
smart like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And it, it's so funny, right? All my
It
examples are,
is.
resonating with the reality here. And if you
It's
think about it, a few years from now, it will benefit a lot in medical care and also customer service at some point.
yes.
So let's say your refrigerator is not working fine. So it can
Mhm.
contact the maintenance team or even the store itself that, hey, I need to be fixed, right?
Right.
Or if you, yeah, that's one example of it. And in the medical care, it can be, let's say you have the smartwatch, and sometimes people use it in a way. I had one, but I stopped wearing it though. So
Mhm.
it can sometimes can it monitor your heart rate, right? It can do that, and also
Yes,
your
it can.
respiration as well.
Yes, it can
So
do heart rate.
in the medical perspective, it can, if it's smart enough, it can contact your physician. It can schedule an appointment to the emergency room if any case something went bad. So it can get to the point where we don't need to, be busy all the time. That all of these devices around us can do the job for us.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think it'll be a point of resistance for some people, and some people will be fine with that, but
Yeah.
that's very interesting. So, if IoT is forecasted to be growing, like, if we're going to get to 19 devices per person eventually, should we assume that internet connectivity will also need to upgrade as well?
Correct. So,
Okay.
of course, if you have 19 devices connected at the same time and
Hmm.
your connection is really slow, and then you will not be able to maximize your devices, right? So, the next generation of internet connectivity, it's called 5G. So, that's the next
Yep.
trend for this year. And by
Hmm.
2027, the global spending of IoT will come to 1.1 trillion. So, that's
Oh,
for
wow.
2027, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
that's on the dollar figures.
A lot.
So
Hmm.
a lot of innovations are happening right now. So way back then, a few years at 3G and 4G, they are enabling us to browse the internet with our devices. But
Hmm.
this specific technology, the fifth generation, is one that will trigger the revolutionization of the device as well. This
Sure.
will be advantageous for services that rely on, let's say, advanced technology such as VR and AR. It's like on a different level than what we had before,
Yeah.
3G and 4G.
Virtual
And
reality.
to
Hmm.
correct to explain it in a shorter way, 4G is designed for mobile devices, right? We have our phones, we have our laptops, we have the smart devices, but 5G specifically is designed for IoT, right?
Yeah.
So again, I will just revert back to my example earlier. It may not be smartwatch. It will not be that advanced right now. But at some point, probably in my ideas here, it will come a time that some type of technology will be integrated to your body, right? So maybe
Oh.
your sugar level will drop below normal, or it will
Mhm.
go above normal. So
Yeah.
something will trigger, and then it will kind of like call 911 at some point, since it's emergency, right? So it will come to a point that we don't really need to contact emergency. It will be integrated to our vital signs, to
Mhm.
our pain, and all that, our feelings. So that will be the
Feels
advancement
like
for
a
sure.
movie. Feels like a
Correct.
movie. Oh, well. I
Sure.
have to say.
Exactly.
Okay, so among all the trends, how can we be sure that we don't just die, that they don't all just die a natural death, right? So, they sound very promising and interesting, but we don't want them to suddenly disappear or take a halt, right? If you're relying on something to call the authorities for you, right? Uh, that I we have to make sure it would be sustainable and able to be supported really, you know?
Hmm. Okay, so that is kind of a tricky question because there are actually two things that being the reason why a technology dies, right, on a natural death, let's say. So
Mhm.
number one is if there is a better technology out there, right, that
Mhm.
emerge at some point, so it
Sure.
will kind of like overshadow what we have uh, currently existing. And the second one is if it's not sustainable, then it will naturally die, right?
Right.
So among these trends, of course, I would say that yeah, I remember this one time when I was in Europe. So I
Mhm.
attended this conference. So the keyword here is sustainability, right? So I
Right.
attended this conference in Sweden, and one of the speakers there is from Volvo, right? So this
Okay.
is an automobile company in
Sure.
Sweden, and they had presented their. I don't think it's a prototype yet, but they have this model wherein they have this body of their automobiles created on a fiber of a green plant, right? So you can forge a metal and make it the body of a Volvo car, but this one is on another level since you are producing a
Mhm.
fiber or a material that is can be reproduced, right? So the keyword here
Okay.
is sustainability. It can be
Mhm.
produced in farms and they can multiply it without, making a lot of carbon footprints as well. So
Interesting.
kind of like it's a carbon fiber, but it's not. It's like it's green. It's natural. It's existing in nature as well.
Right. Right.
So of course, if it's made from metal, you forge it and you make a lot of carbon emissions, and it's also
Mhm.
a lot heavy than these natural fibers. And
Mhm.
I wish I can name you the name of the plant, but you can have a research of it and it will come up in no
Yeah, it
time.
sounds like
So
a fun little
yeah,
side project. Yeah.
sure,
Mhm. Let's go
It's
Google.
Volvo that come up to
Okay.
that. I can still remember
Okay.
uh, the image of the plant, but I can't remember the name itself. But yeah, the keyword here is sustainability, and if it's sustainable, then it will thrive through what we have currently
Okay.
in terms of
Wonderful.
its life.
Interesting. So, to wrap up a bit here, how will our company, OpenIT, keep up with these technological trends, these technology trends of 2023? How can we assist our customers? And I don't need a long answer, just like a couple
Sure.
quick points, how best can
Okay.
we, yeah, assist our customers?
So for on the OpenIT perspective, I can give you three, right?
Okay.
So we have number one is remote work, and
Okay.
then I will explain it one by one. Second one is OpenIT is cloud ready, and the third one is the launching of the OpenIT customer portal, right? So
Okay.
remote work, you had an interview with our uh, network engineer and IT
I did.
specialist, Axel. Was that the last podcast before this one, or we have
It
Gladys?
might have been a
That
couple
was in
back.
November. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in
Yeah.
November, I believe. I've
Yeah.
heard about that.
Mhm.
And more than 2.5 years ago, these experts, of course, there's a raging pandemic that's happening, right? The experts are saying that it will never be the same again.
Mm,
That's what they're
yeah.
saying. So the businesses had invested heavily in remote equipments for their employees to support long-term remote work, right? So that has
Right.
been detailed by Axel. So OpenIT is one of those businesses that really cares about their employees. So they not only they provide these remote equipments, but they also provide healthcare needs like
Mhm.
vitamins. They also have this face mask as well, and
Mhm.
we are one of the forefront companies in providing that, and also all of the remote equipments, even in the new hires, right? So, and the good news is people had proven that they can still be effective and they can still deliver
Yeah.
when they're still doing remote works.
Yeah.
And it became normal at some point, but fast forward 2023, the managers now are thinking that probably permanent work from home is not for everyone. So they had introduced this uh, hybrid work, right? So you can
Yep.
go to the office for like 3 days a week, and then the rest will be spent in the home. So
Right.
I would say it's really working for me personally, since
Mhm.
I would like to go out often. So I'm working in the office for like 4 times a week now, and it's
Hmm.
good for me and my mental health as well.
Sure.
So how about you? Are you
Yes.
enjoying your?
I'm enjoying hybrid work. It's very convenient for me, and I am more productive. The start and stop of
Yep,
traveling, it does take away time, especially if you're in the groove of completing a task or following up or initiating a project. So
correct.
that is true. Okay,
I
so
would say it's like
mhm.
a subjective, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it
different from
depends.
person to
Not everybody
person.
likes it, but I do also enjoy working in the office. At home you can be distracted by the things that you see all the time. Things remind you of something else. So it's good to do both. So I enjoy hybrid work. So what about being cloud ready and launching the
Yes, yes.
customer portal? How can we, help our
In terms
customers
of
best?
being cloud ready, of course,
Hmm.
we have a lot of advantages and drawbacks as well. For drawbacks, if you are in a cloud setup, the cloud iteration itself, it is owned by the provider, not yourself. So if
Mm.
something went wrong with your server, let's say a network error or the physical server itself, the hardware, you cannot just go to your server room unless you
Sure.
are in the setup where you have the on-premise servers or your
Hmm.
in-house data centers where you can just go to your server rooms and look at what's going on physically, right? It's
Hmm.
different when you are paying something, and not only that, but also the pricing. It's not coming as cheap. The subscriptions on these hosted providers is not that cheap. You should allocate and designate your budget annually for that as well. And the server there is not in your office. It's not on your premise. So it's probably located in Ohio or somewhere that's really far from yourself.
Hmm.
So it's hard at that perspective, and it's also dependent on the internet. Now,
Right.
this one is kind of like dichotomy at some point since it's very uh, dependent on the internet, but at the same time, since it's very dependent on the internet, you can access it once you have connection, right? You can access it
Right.
whenever you are, or wherever you need it. You can just access and connect. That's basically the heart of remote work. And the
Hmm.
advantage, we have a lot of advantage, and one of that is what I've mentioned, the remote work. And of course, you can have a single place where you can do this, work,
Hmm.
right? Everything from procurement to purchasing this new softwares, and that's also applying to these vendors that we are supporting. When you have access to the production server, it can be accessed in smart devices, and I would recommend you listen to Laddie's
Yes.
podcast. I was so far ahead of Axel's, but it's part of
And
this
and
Talk
for the
IT
listen
series as
for the
well.
listeners, yes, that is the development manager, and I don't remember
Sure.
the name of that episode, but we can probably put it in the comments. In
It's 917 release. Uh,
Yeah, the
I've
917 release
listened to
episode.
that
Yeah.
like 2 days ago.
Okay, great.
So being cloud ready means
9.17.
that
Mm-hmm.
yes, 9.17.
Hmm.
So being cloud ready means we now support Autodesk named user subscription,
Great.
and also
Yep.
Autodesk, not Autodesk, but Adobe Creative Cloud, Adobe
Yes.
CC for short. And we also have Bentley hosted and also Hexagon ISL.
Hmm.
And that's basically the start for what we can provide for them. That's like the technology giants in the
Hmm.
technical applications world, and we are currently pouring our effort in having a lot more supported in the next upcoming quarters as well.
Yeah,
But I would say that's a
that's
good
all
start.
true. Yeah, it's a good start. And then, pardon me, but I do know a little bit about the customer portal. Can you tell
Sure.
our listeners more about the Open IT customer portal? Because that's our your third
Our
listed
last,
point that
yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned. Yeah.
that will be
Hmm.
the last point there.
Yeah.
So launching of Open IT customer portal, and that's actually one of the ongoing trends on the digital customer experience right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And with the shift towards integrated interactions between the service givers or us and the not providers, but the customers, providers and
Hmm.
customers. So OpenIT has now released its customer portal wherein you can go as a customer, access more business value
Yeah.
from the tools and services itself. So
Right.
here our customers can find all of the resources they need, both for admins and also for just exploration, right? In
Hmm.
case of our tools and the professional services,
Yes.
that will be a good communication tool as well for both customers and the providers. Which is
Correct.
in case of OpenIT.
So yeah, we have all these things ready for you all. We are constantly improving. Talking to the
Sure.
listeners now, not you, Lem. But yeah, we just want you guys to know that we are always thinking of you and always looking at ways to improve, to give you a better experience and provide value to you. So thank you so much for sharing, Lemuel. This is really awesome. I appreciated the discussion. I appreciate you sharing your insights with us. It's been a great discussion, and our listeners, I hope they're getting more and more excited about this upcoming year. You know, you never know what's going to be in the future. I know it's been a tough past few years, but things are getting better, and I am very excited about where things are going.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Brandy, and thank you for having me here.
yes, thank you so much. So, yeah, to our listeners, if you guys have a topic that you would like us to cover, you can email us at podcast@openit.com. That's OPENIT.com. We'd also like to take this opportunity to invite you to visit our website to view our upcoming events at openit.com or connect with one of our solutions consultants. And we're glad to assist you in your software optimization journey. Always stay updated. Follow us on social media. We are very active on LinkedIn and Facebook. And this has been Brandy Boyd once again for OpenIT. We meter, analyze, and optimize software. And this is a SAM for Engineering podcast. Thanks again.
A SAM for Engineering podcast is produced and supported by OpenIT, a trusted partner to meter, analyze, and optimize software, cloud, and SaaS usage. OpenIT provides advanced metering and reporting solutions to help companies and institutions make smarter decisions on managing engineering software licenses. OpenIT helps organizations achieve global IT efficiency through effective out-of-the-box solutions that address software license management challenges to stay on top of critical junctures in the new normal.